All right. Hi, everyone. We're at Asian Persuasion, and this is our virtual doghouse challenge. So I'm Tiffany.
I'm Christina.
My name is Eric.
And I'm Bao.
So a little bit about all of us. We're all second year civil engineering majors, and I personally really like collecting rocks.
I recently got a bunny.
I really enjoy dancing.
And I love being outdoors.
So for the materials we used or we plan on using, all of our stuff is going to be recyclable or reused leftover plastic and stuff from like the trash and recycling areas. So for our roof, we plan on having a little garden area, and there we're going to have plants and herbs with some soil, of course. And then we plan on reusing plastic stuff such as water bottles, leftover pipes, plastic film, tarps, all the above. And we'll get into why we decided to choose these certain items later in the presentation, and as well as scrap aluminum sheets. For the floor, we plan on having more blankets and bedding for our dog. And then for our structure, we plan on using like scrap wood from construction sites, and then extra packaging material like styrofoam, bubble wrap, all that good jazz. And then for our miscellaneous stuff, we plan on using like hinges, nails, and screws just to keep the structure together.
Okay, so for the design, on the left-hand side, the picture shows our doghouse, and it is raised on 4 wooden slabs, and it has a ramp as well. And at the top of the roof, you can see a gutter, which will be used to collect rainwater, and we will use recycled bottles and jars to collect the water. And a place to put the bottles and jars would be the slab of wood on the side, which is like some extra space. And then looking at the right-hand side of the picture, there is a window so that there is ventilation for the dog. And at the roof, we have the garden with a removable top.
So something about the sustainability of the doghouse. So in the rendering, you can't really see it, but the roof is actually slanted very slightly, right? And that will be for like the collection of rainfall, right? So it can go down the decline. And like she said, like Christina said, we will collect it in like recycled plastic bottles, et cetera, et cetera. And then the rooftop, right, that would allow us to plant like various vegetation, right? Whether it's food crops or it's just simply different kind of flowers, right? And then with regards to the collection of the required materials, right, all it would the most sustainable sources would be exhausted first, right? We would use those first, and then some examples would be like recycling centers, right, Craigslist, and even construction sites, right, which is actually where we would get a majority of our wood for the doghouse, right, and obviously other secondhand resources. But we wouldn't really try to go too much out of our way to get the resources. Like we wouldn't leave the Austin area, or we wouldn't want to leave too much footprint in collecting the required materials.
So, with the rest of our doghouse, we need to make sure that the dog can actually live inside of it. So, some of the stuff that we considered was implementing a window. And so, our window, as we previously mentioned, helps with a little bit with temperature regulation. We also have insulation to also assist with that, where we have a wall so that's covered with wood, with the center being filled with either styrofoam or other packing material to kind of insulate our house. In addition to that, our dog needs to be comfortable so that we put pillows and blankets on the floor so that it's not just wood. And then for a little bit of more appearance side, we have a sustainable option in wood engravings using either laser or by hand, and allows us to customize without the use of paint. And so some of the things that we took into consideration when we first started building was a modern look. So our house looks a little bit atypical in our mind from what you would imagine whenever you hear about a doghouse. Another thing that we really wanted to implement was a rooftop garden, and this was for a more sustainable part. We got this inspiration from some designs that we've seen in other places, like a proposal of the reconstruction of Notre Dame, as well as previous years' doghouses.
And so with some considerations that was taken, right, in the process of building the house was like I said before, to make sure that the resources was easily, accessible and reusable. and like the garden to reduce the footprint, like no matter how small or little, and then ventilation, insulation for the dog to make sure they're comfortable, and then the water filtration and reuse, right? Water will filter through the soil, etc., and then we will reuse the water as we collected it, and then with me this whole idea, we can like with an empty lot of like a empty space, we can definitely put a doghouse like we're building right here instead of just leaving it empty and be useless.
Okay, so overall, we didn't really have that many troubles with our doghouse since we had the convenience of doing it online. Besides, like some of the design aspects, we powered through it.
Yeah, and so overall, what we learned is from like the whole process of this in general, like we learned how to work together as a team to brainstorm and make one deliverable. We also learned a lot about sustainability and how a lot of the stuff that we can do even in our daily lives can be reused, right? And then also each team member came up with their own design, which really enhanced their creativity and as well as us trying to learn new programs such as Rhino. And then overall, we assembled a doghouse and we hope that this will become like an actual physical doghouse one day. So thank you everyone for listening. You guys are all the best. If you guys have any questions, feel free to visit us on our virtual presentation day. Bye.